Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our session today for our Vivit session organized by our Chicago chapter. My name is Mihai Grigorescu. I will be your host and moderator for today, and I'll also be leading a demo for you later on Mobile Center and App Pulse Mobile. We are proudly organizing this event with the help of our fellow Vivit leads like Rocky Pisto, whom probably everybody knows, Terry Saralo as well. Thank you for helping us organize this event through the Chicago chapter. And more importantly, we are very grateful for Tony Sumster and Jennifer Murphy, who are joining us from HPE as our guest speakers today, to spend a copious amount of time on discussing about the recent announcement for the HPE and Micro Focus screen merger. Without further ado, I will now introduce you to Tony. Tony is a Senior Vice President of IT Operations Management. He's been with Hewlett Enterprise for many years. Held various senior management roles. And has joined HPE in 2008. I'm not going to go through all of Tony's biography. Of course, I would like to also say a few words about Jennifer. Jennifer is also a VP, a Vice President for ADM, for Application Delivery Management, Product and Product Marketing with Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And she has been working as a strategist and out-of-the-box thinker for many years as well with HPE. So we're very glad to have you both, Jennifer and Tony, with us today. We will look forward to hearing your messages around the merger with Micro Focus. But before we do that, I would like to just take you all folks through a couple of quick housekeeping rules and regulations, so to speak. So Tony, if you don't mind, just going to the next slide. Right. As all of you know, probably you've been coming to our webinars for quite a while now, and you're a Vivit member, so you know the drill. This session is live. It's being recorded, and the recordings will be posted on the Vivit website a few days later. For Q&A, we will have a dedicated session at the end of this presentation. So after Tony and Jennifer stop presenting their materials, feel free to ask away all your questions, and even while they are talking to you, please write away the questions in your questions pane. If we move over to the next slide, you can toggle the window between full screen and window mode. We recommend that you keep it as small as possible for the greatest experience, graphically speaking. Make sure that you type in your questions. That's the most important part of it all. And that's pretty much it from my side. So I think we're done here. So Tony, if you don't mind, just take it away and awe us with your lots and lots of information about the merger.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. So thanks everybody for taking the time with us today. Jennifer and I will take a run at answering all the questions and giving you some full and frank answers on the exciting news from Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So let's just remind ourselves, what happened and why it happened. On September the 7th, Meg Whitman, who's the CEO of Hewlett Packard Enterprise, announced the spin-off and merger of the Hewlett Packard Enterprise software business. And that was then going to merge with a company called Micro Focus. Micro Focus is a British company. It's on the on the Financial Times Stock Exchange index, so it's based in London. And what was put together was really a pure play software business that would be the 6th largest software business in the world. The whole strategy and rationale behind the spin-off and merger was the extension of a strategy that's been running for about a year and a half. At the 1st of November 2015, we split Hewlett Packard into two groups, Hewlett Packard Enterprise and HPE Inc. HPE Inc. was our PC and printing business. And what was left was to the server, storage, services, and software business. The rationale behind that was that the businesses independent were able to make faster decisions and better investment decisions for their customers. And as that work has played out, it became obvious to the board and to the executive teams inside each of our companies that what was true for our PC and printing brethren was also true for our services business and for our software business. So about 4 or 5 months ago, we announced the spin-off and merger of our services business with CSC, and that transaction will close in March of 2017. And then at the beginning of September, we announced the software business being spun off and merged with Micro Focus. So the rationale has played itself out, and we're all very confident in the way the strategy is being rolled out and the way it's being executed. So let's explain what this new company will be. As I said, it's going to be a pure-play infrastructure software company. It's going to have about $4.5 billion of revenue. It'll be the 6th largest software company in the world. It'll have a global reach, serving about 50,000 customers. Now, as we think about the way that the organization is going to be organized, let's start with governance. And so the first thing I would say is that the board of directors will be comprised of members of the executive management team, but also a Hewlett-Packard Enterprise executive will serve on the board. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise will also nominate 50% of the independent directors, about 3 of the 6 independent directors. Now, why is this important? It's important because HPE shareholders will own 50.1% of the new organization. So while HPE will not necessarily own this new company, its shareholders will, it has a fiduciary duty to make sure that the new company steps out into the world in the best possible way and has the best chance of success. The best analogy that I have for what Hewlett-Packard has been going through over the last couple of years is it's almost like you've finished college, you've left home and you're going out into the world, and it sort of feels a bit like that. We're leaving the parents' home as such, and we're stepping out on our own, and that's exciting, and it's got lots of things in front of us that we're thinking about, lots of possibilities. So very exciting from that perspective. Now, one of the key questions that gets asked is, so exactly what's moving and what's staying, and what does all that mean? And so the best way of thinking about this is that the organization in its entirety is moving. Whether it be sales or marketing or human resources or research and development or product marketing or management, our finance teams, we are lifting and shifting the whole company. So the transaction will close on the 31st of August 2017. And on that day, we will simply lift, and at midnight, or 1 minute past midnight, on the 1st of September 2017, that entire organization will move across and be part of this a new organization, which for the moment we think will be called Micro Focus. Now, as we do this piece of work, we have taken the opportunity to do some things which we think are very important. One of them is that being part of a large hardware-oriented company can sometimes have some constraints, and one of them is around systems. So we're taking the opportunity to invest $300 million in a brand new fit-for-purpose software design and software company-purposed IT infrastructure. So we're going to move away from sharing systems with our hardware colleagues and just have our own things. Now, this is a sort of once-in-a-lifetime offer, if you will, and what will happen in the future is that the combined company will move on to this new architecture, and we believe that by doing that we'll be able to better serve our customers because our systems will be fit for purpose, for a software company. It also allows us to provide new services and new ideas in the way that we think about consumption models or business models, or getting products to market. All of the products that you know and love inside Hewlett-Packard Enterprise are moving across, and there's a list that you can see on the right-hand side, which talks about all the businesses. I run the IT operations management business, and Jennifer, who's with me here today, we are purporting that all of these things will come across on the 1st of September 2017. And so with that, there's normally a bunch of questions that come along. What's going to happen to roadmaps? So first of all, roadmaps will stay. This is a great thing for us to move forward in this way, but there will be no change to roadmaps. The people that you do business with today, say a support person, will be the people that you'll do business with tomorrow. Your salesperson, if you have a relationship with those people, then they will be in place. So what we hope for is that when the spin-off and merger happens, you don't notice. There may be a change of name, but the way we behave, the things that we do, the support that we offer, the products that we offer, the things that you're expecting, will remain the same. And so that's the intent. And we're very excited by that. One of the other things that we think will benefit our customers here, as well as being purely focused on software and delivering purely for a software purpose, is that mergers and acquisitions are an important part of a software business. We think organic innovation is the best, and every dollar we put into creating our own innovation is very important. But we also think that markets are moving very quickly, and it's important that while we create our own innovations, that we're also able to go and acquire the things that support and complement the things that we're doing. And so we think that being together with Micro Focus, quoted on the London Stock Exchange, will give us access to capital, which will allow us to do some good M&A at a much faster clip than we've been able to do as part of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, if just because the valuations are very different between a services company and a software company and a hardware company. So with that, I'm just going to take you through just maybe one more slide. And Jennifer, is there anything you want to say on this slide particularly that might be interesting to the team to talk about the way you see software and markets we think about?
Yeah, so I think this slide actually it really just encapsulates all of the key things that we're dealing with across both of our businesses and across the overall software businesses. I think if we look at just a few of these points, I'll pick on a couple of them. For example, open source, number 4 here, open source adoption entering mainstream, necessitating new enterprise solutions. Now, we see, especially on the ADM side of the house, a lot of our customers building out integrated DevOps tool chains. And so one of the things that's been very important for us is how across all of the different parts of our portfolio do we enable that for customers, and instead of running away from actually embracing open source, and in many cases on the Itom side of the house and the ADM side of the house, actually contributing to the open source community and making sure that our products can actually integrate with those solutions, and that will continue to be important going forward. I think another one of the key areas is around the importance around line of business and also SaaS delivery. Micro Focus right now don't have a strong SaaS presence. That's something that I think we as HPE Software are bringing to the table as part of this spin merge. And I think that will again continue to evolve. We have great dominance in our SaaS business. We've been a player in that space for a long time, and we'll continue to evolve it by building out strategic relationships with some of the core cloud service providers like Microsoft or Amazon as an example. And then the third part, I know you'll talk to this, Tony, is definitely around containers. Containers are definitely, especially on the IT operations management side, becoming a new way of deployment, getting increasing popularity, and helping our customers to get more flexibility in terms of the different deployment modes, and being able to actually help our customers consume the innovation that we're bringing to market more readily. I think, again, our work with containers, our work in terms of our architectures, moving to a more microservice orientated architecture for the development of our products is an innovation we will continue, and I think is, again, something that we can bring to the Micro Focus portfolio to actually help them evolve as well. But those would be my top 3 things to pick out on this slide.
That's great. Perfect indeed. So some of the questions that come up, so we hear questions around, okay, roadmaps, support, contracts is another one that comes up. And so, are my contracts going to stay the same? And the answer is yes. We have a significant support base, 50,000 customers often with many support contracts. And those contracts will go forward as we move forward into the new organization. So that's another one of those questions that comes up. And don't forget to put your questions in the chat window, and we'll make sure that we're getting to those things as well. Sometimes as we think about how we organize, what are we thinking about? What is the vision? Does this vision exist in the new organization? So the first thing is that we're about 11,000 people. We'll be about 75% of the new organization. All of us are very proud to be part of the Hewlett-Packard brand, and all that means with its its focus on integrity and ethics and all those other things, which is what we're there for. That and the people. It's it's why I get up in the morning, certainly. As we think about all those things and our innovation, people ask what do we focus on, and so there are 3 broad areas that we concentrate on, and these will remain the focus as we go into the new organization. Operations, and this is how do you manage operations in a ever dynamic and somewhat confused world where I've got my traditional world and my digital enterprise, if you will, is moving ever quicker. My development world, which is moving and has been moving very much in the last 20 years or so over many different forms, but we're now into a world where it is quite feasible that a new application appears and disappears in weeks. And I'm sure Mihai can talk about the velocity of these things, and words that get used like DevOps and the tools and the culture we need to be able to do those things. And then security, which is about protecting data, fundamentally protecting the data, but also handling, all the cultural stuff that needs to go around security, because it's not just about the technology; it's around how we treat information and the data itself. And we think absolutely that at the core of the innovation of all of these things is how do you protect, how do you provide insight, how do you provide recommendation, how do you automate, and how do you get better at delivering outcomes for our businesses and our stakeholders by concentrating very much on machine learning and deep analytics. And we're blessed with some amazing technologies in the portfolio, things like Idle and Vertica, but also our key research and development teams who build just amazing algorithms in their specific domains to be very successful. We think we have some real edge here, and this will continue to be a core part of our roadmaps as we move forward. But you'll see that green line that joins all these things together, and that's there for a reason. It's because we believe all these things are converging. They're still they are still described as very separate things, and we need that because we're evolving so quickly. But it's really important to understand that as we think about how we design applications, how we support our customers, we're absolutely thinking about how does operations security come together, because they are. How does operations and development or development operations come together? So a bunch of cool stuff going on there. Um, why don't I just take you through just a few things here? So customers often ask, okay, what are the few things that you think about? And so this is one of those that both Jennifer and I, when we talk to customers, the first thing we talk about is, what are you trying to do? And so, what's the purpose? So I get that you provide your capabilities to operations, development, and security. So that's great. I get that. But if I talked about how can you help me be better at something, what would they be? So the first thing would say, listen, we're here to help customers go from the world they're in today to the world they want to go to. And you can describe that in many ways, but traditional IT to digital enterprise, most people can work with that. And then you say, okay, well, but what is the thing that you concentrate on, and how do you explain things? And so in the IT operations management world, it's slightly different in the delivery management world, but it's close. We help customers be more efficient. We help customers gain more agility. And the last one, and probably the most important, is that all of these things are only being served to drive innovation and disruption into their industries. And so efficiency, agility, and innovation. And the way that we described that, certainly in IT operations management, was how do you get to efficiency? And so efficiency for us is around driving automation. And while there's a large conversation that says, well, we've done automation, the reality is that that's sort of a little bit of a fib, in that about 30% of customers have done anything that is serious in automation. So we think there's a good opportunity there. And the important thing about that is automation frees up people's time and energy to do higher value tasks, which drives you to agility, which is about how do I tie business processes together so that I can deliver new and exciting new services to my customers at the rate and pace that they expect it. And then on innovation, it's about transforming service delivery. The way that I want it, how I want it, with the contextual relevancy of the thing that I want. And that could be as simple as a mobile application of applications I've already got, or it could be more exciting ways of providing completely new services, new markets, new customers, new whatever it happens to be. And we concentrate on two things. There's sort of two pivots here that are super important. One is user experience. If we've learned anything over the last 3 to 5 years, it is that it's not my business life comes home with me, it's that my personal life comes to work with me, so a complete shift in the way that works, and so user experience is super important, particularly for anybody under 30. And that second point, which I talked about earlier, is we have so much data now which we're able to exploit that even 5 years ago we couldn't, and so we can find new questions to ask, and new ways of giving us answers. All of this enables us to do things at a really fast pace. And for the application delivery management bit, DevOps at speed, quality, and scale that is expected in a modern organization. For IT operations management, that means a massive simplification of what we do. And what we heard from our customers was, you have tens of thousands of customers. Could you help short-circuit progress? And we said, sure. And so what we started to do, in fact we're a long way down this path, is one is take that learning and build it into the products. And with your services teams and your partners, get a prescriptive path, from the world we're in today to the world we want to be tomorrow. The second piece was, you've got 50 plus products, Tony, in your portfolio, and we love the products and they're great, but there's 50 of them, and we often need to tie them together in a way that costs time and energy and money, and things are moving too fast for that. So can you do some work on that? And so what we did was we got to a simpler way of representing ourselves. So on the automation side, so the green or teal, I'm told it's called, there are three things that we do. We do data center automation, network storage, servers, database, and middleware, and you can buy that as a suite, so a single thing. Service management, operations, infrastructure monitoring and analytics, a private cloud suite, and actually a container management suite as well. And then that new concept, service broking, where I can buy technology inside and outside, and I can manage the relationships properly. And all of these things are being completely re-architected in that container world that Jennifer talked about. And so in January, you'll be able to buy all of these things if you're a new customer, and you could deploy it in containers. And to give you an example, if you're a service manager customer and you're installing it in a traditional way, it might take you, getting the servers and the database and the middleware and all that sort of stuff, it might take you, a week to get done. The team showed me the latest revision in a container-based way, and it took 5 minutes. And I have to say I was blown away. But that's the advantages that we're seeing for our customers, so they can concentrate on getting value from the things that they're doing. Now, Jennifer, it's probably rather than me talk glowingly about my business, which I will do forever, why don't you give us a flavor about what's going on the ADM side?
Excellent, sir. Always happy to steal a bit of limelight for the ADM portfolio. So all of those trends that I talked about at the beginning around, the role of the developer, containers, open source, SaaS, and everything that Tony talked about, really applies to the application delivery management business as well. And as Tony mentioned, we really look at our solutions around 3 core areas. Most of our customers in the application delivery management space, they want to move faster. They want to be able to deliver value back to their customers, whether they're internal employees, citizens, or external customers, much faster. And most of the time, they're looking to do that through different processes like DevOps or Agile, for example. But to say that we really enable DevOps, that doesn't really mean anything. So we break it down and we say, how we enable DevOps, how we help customers move faster is we provide a portfolio of solutions that enable them to do 3 things: speed, quality, and scale. We help customers move fast, but at the same time not compromise quality and compromise that user experience that Tony was talking about. And then we also help them do that at scale. A lot of our customers are large enterprises or specific teams within large enterprises. We want to be able to give them the tools and capabilities to remove roadblocks and be able to scale up those efficiencies that they've generated in specific teams or groups at a much larger level. And then something that underpins all of this is our agenda around predictive analytics. And so predictive, how we use data in order to generate insight and action so that we can enable, again, speed, quality, and scale. How we can use data to free people up from doing the everyday tasks in test planning, test automation, agile project planning, how we can free up those resources so that they can actually work on a higher different order of things, and the tasks around test planning and agile planning and backlog management can maybe be done in an automated fashion. And so the ADM portfolio really captures how do we help customers get to that speed by allowing them to do everything from portfolio level management, including financial and resource planning, through to the day-to-day agile planning with ALM and Agile Manager. How do we enable quality across the 3 core pillars that remain the same in user experience? Does it function? Does it perform? And is it secure? And are we looking at that in the pre-production world and then monitoring it in the production world with application monitoring? And then how do we help customers scale? By integrating with platform as a service and dev tools, and by providing capabilities around service and network virtualization so that customers can really test an end-to-end user experience. Tony?
Yeah. And so, I talked about, it's always really hard to follow Jennifer. She's so good at what she does. As we think about, the analytics core, we truly believe this. We think we have some of the best technology on the planet for the domains that we do business in. So whether it be service management or infrastructure monitoring or application monitoring or functional testing, it doesn't matter what it is. We think we have a depth that is pretty much unrivaled. But we do think that it's really important at this point in time to make sure that the new things that come along are really driving new agendas, and whether that be the ability to predict something so you get ahead of it before it goes wrong, or to provide insight to the way that you do things. And there's a great one. We have a big data service desk on SaaS called Service Anywhere, and it has a change management capability that will tell you what is going right and what is going wrong, and it will also tell you why. And it will also give you recommendations as if you did these things, which are common to the things that work, you'll get a better result. And that, for me, was something that I saw that would really help customers. As we know, change cause most outages and most mistakes. And so that was, for me, that was one of those moments of, aha, this is really working. I can see this. I think problem management is another one. Or being able to see the quality of code and defects and being able to tie that back to your incident management process. I think there's lots and lots of things going here. So that just to drive home a point, I guess, the analytics are absolutely core to what we do, and you're going to see more and more of them as we go forward. This is probably one of those areas where it's moving so quickly that M&A activity would probably help us here as we want to do more and more, and you just see the ability to go out and grab something and bring it your customer base as part of a portfolio, and you go, yes, that works. That makes sense. That's great. And so with that's the slides that we have here. So we wanted to now move to Q&A and see if we can't answer any questions that you have for us, and Jennifer and I are ready and willing to take the questions that you have.
And of course, I was speaking on mute. Well, yes. Well, thank you so much, Tony and Jennifer. And by the way, Tony, yes, ADM rules over over Itom. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
We didn't pay me high to say that.
Of course not.
No, of course not. But I'm in ADM, so that's what I'm saying. So vote Jennifer. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so now leaving all the jokes aside, I think that we have a few good questions here already that have cropped up. The first question that came up was, what is your commitment to investing in innovation?
Yeah, so one of the things about innovation, Jennifer's got a good set of things going on here as well, which she can respond to. But let me sort of dive in. We've been on an innovation kick for about the last 5 years, and in particular the last 18 months, we've seen a significant amount of innovation, whether it be the analytics capability that we've been talking about here, and the way that gets ingrained into our technology. So not as an add-on, not as a, hey, yeah, we talk about it, but we're not really serious, but actually building it deep into your applications so that it's just part and parcel of what you do. Whether it be in the work around containers, both in the deployment methodologies, which we think will have a huge benefit for our customers, but at the same time, they've got huge benefit for us as a software organization, because it enables us to move so much faster to deliver new capabilities to market. And so, we see just a huge amount of innovation. We think we're on a bit of a roll, if we're honest. And with these things, you get into a bit of a mode, and you get momentum, and developers get excited by the things they're working on, and then things get faster, and more people get excited by what's going on, and that's sort of where we're at. And so, even if we wanted to stop it, I'm not sure we could. We have no plan to. In fact, we, by the ability, by being a pure play software company, we think we have greater opportunity to do more innovation and more sharing of knowledge and more learning. And we think that's going to be quite some fun. Jennifer, what's your answer to the question?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, like on the IT operations management side, on the ADM side, we've been doing a lot of innovation. I think the key actually is innovating in the right places for the right reasons, and not forgetting where our customers are today, and not forgetting the investment that our customers have made in our portfolio. One of the recent things we did, we announced last year, was Alm Octane. And really, Alm Octane is a great example of, it was built from the ground up for customers who are looking at more DevOps and Agile, but at the same time, we want to make sure that it has tight integrations with the existing ALM and Quality Center platforms, so that customers can use the two together. The same with Storm Runner Load, which is our cloud-based performance testing solution. We ensured that you can actually take Load Runner and Performance Center scripts, and you can use those in Storm Runner Load, so that we take customers on that journey. And if you see any of the collateral around Micro Focus, they're very much about bridging this journey for customers, and taking customers on this journey, and innovating in the right places for the right reasons. And I agree with Tony, the innovation train in our R&D team is a train that isn't going to stop anytime soon, and is only just gathering more and more steam as we go forward. And I think the transformations we've done in our R&D team to move to a more DevOps and Agile process ourselves is just going to facilitate that. And as we go into Micro Focus, I definitely think that's going to continue, and we want to keep our customers happy, and keep innovating for the right reasons in the right places.
Great stuff. Thank you. We have a few product questions here which are quite interesting. And excuse me. So the first question with this, there are actually two questions that are quite relevant, and they're interlacing with each other. The question is the following: I know that it is early in the merger, but are there any discussions yet on combining some of the overlapping tools to get the best of both products? Yeah. So like Load Runner and Silk, QTP, Silk Test, and then we got another question asking the same thing. And then how unlikely, looks unlikely you would keep both overlapping tools active, and how do you split innovation budgets? So those questions are related.
So, Ben, you want me to start there, since they're on the IDM side of the house?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, listen, guys, I think we will be as open and transparent as we can with you. We've just started discussions and sharing of information between the two organisations. We obviously have to walk with caution here because of the various antitrust laws and everything else associated with any type of large financial transaction and merger that would happen. So, up until we get to September 1, as Tony talked about, we will effectively be competing as two companies, but we are starting to have those discussions. The Micro Focus team have come over and met with the HPE software team. I think, if we look at in terms of what will we do with the products, yes, there are overlaps, but if you actually look at how Micro Focus operates, they continue to support all of the products that they have previously acquired, whether that be the Silk portfolio or whether that be the Borland portfolio. I think what we'll continue to do as we go forward is we'll continue to look at, from an architectural perspective, from a customer perspective, where does it make sense to align and have synergies between the two solutions, and where does it make sense that actually a customer may choose to use, and we will continue to support both products going forward. So it is early in the discussions. Those discussions are happening. We will continue to update our customers as we get more answers to those, but obviously we need to work within the boundaries of all of our various different legal requirements that we have. But I think there's opportunities for both companies to learn from one another. For example, on the Micro Focus side of the house, they have experience in the test data and test data management side of the house with Data Express. Maybe we need to look at how we can leverage that to bring some test data capabilities natively to the HPE portfolio. And similarly, we've made great investments on the load testing and performance testing and functional testing side with Storm Runner Load and LeanFT. And as I mentioned before, Micro Focus don't have a strong SaaS portfolio, so Storm Runner Load is a great candidate to be that next generation of solutions for our joint customers going forward. Tony, you want to take some of that as well?
Yeah. So my take is so I think there are two things we've learned already. One is there is some overlap. There's no doubt about that. What we've also found is that in not all situations, but in quite a lot of situations, we actually serve different customers. So while we might have 3 or 4 service desks, the reality is that the customers for those service desks are actually in quite different places. So that's the first thing, just a sort of pragmatic way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is, and I don't think any of us are super fans of the migration strategy that says, and if you took the Oracle Fusion project, for instance, you take 10 products and you say you're all going to move to this new super duper thing in the future. And while it sounds great in theory, the reality is that most customers are quite happy with the products that they have. It's doing a job for them, and to change to something else is normally a lot of work and money. So there's no burning idea here that says, yes, we're going to merge everything into one super duper platform across any part of the portfolio. So we don't intend to do that. That's not something on the agenda. Now that does mean that we will be holding multiples of products. And if you look at how Micro Focus works today, that is something that already works that way, and we think that's right, and we like that approach because it's very customer focused rather than the vendor focused. So I think Jennifer's answer is the right one. Watch this space, but I also think there's some good learning from a lot of us around. Let's be pragmatic. Let's make sure customers are the North Star here. And if we can find things that are complementary and supportive, super, like the test data management or the SaaS applications, then great. But let's not push hard here. We don't need to. I think we'll wait and see what happens. But I think from a customer perspective, I think people are thinking about it in the right way.
Hey, Tony, allow me to take a stab at this as well, because unlike you, I'm not bound by any confidentiality rules, and I've also been speaking to Micro Focus on my own as well, strictly relating to the ADM products. So for the people who are asking about the overlapping products, yes, we've got Serena software that does ALM, which is a competing product to ALM. We've got the Silk products, which are competing with performance testing tools from HPE and so on and so forth in the previous life. What's going to happen is all these products are going to become part of the Micro Focus solution catalog, so to speak, or product catalog, and then all that investment in R&D and everything else will follow through normally as it would from both Micro Focus and HPE today. To give you an example, Serena software, which was acquired by Micro Focus, just over a year ago or somewhere around there. Micro Focus hasn't purchased Serena to sunset it, so there's not going to be any cases of retiring or deprecating any of the HP products. They are also investing heavily into Serena now. They just had a DevOps conference up in Chicago, and Serena was probably half of that conference. So what I've seen personally from an ADM perspective that Micro Focus does is they acquire, they continue investing in those products, and since the market is so large and so saturated, or not even so full of HP products, I doubt there's going to be any changes with regards to the investments into R&D or their marketing in general. That's what I want to say, Tony and Jennifer.
Yeah, that's great. That's good feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great stuff. I'm asking the questions and I'm posing the questions at the same time. I must be multitasking. Okay, so we have a few questions more that are coming through. I like this one. How will the user communities, resource repositories, and knowledge stores be transitioned? You may remember the awful transition to HP Live Network first, and now to software support hp.com. And how will this come? How will this be brought to some Micro Focus ontology-based repository? Which is a good question.
Wow. And probably beyond mine or Jennifer's answer here. I think that's probably one of those detailed questions we don't yet know the answer to.
Tony, I would just answer that question carefully. I would just say simple, carefully. That's how the migration is going to happen. Because I'm also frustrated with the software support, and I can echo what this person has asked you. But I'm going to let you answer that.
Yeah. So you know, I'm going to say I don't know the answer. Two, that one of the purposes of the transformation, the IT transformation, is to provide as you know a better purpose-built service for our customers. So support is clearly a huge part of our agenda, and so if there's stuff that we need to be taking back and making sure it's covered by that transformation, then I can certainly do that.
All right. Okay. Here's two easy ones after that curveball. What will the name or brand of the company be going forward, and when will the deal actually close?
So the deal will close on the 31st of August 2017. So that's an easy one. I think for the purpose of this conversation, the name of the company will be Micro Focus. Do we know that for definite? I would say that's still an open question. But given we don't know anything further, I would say Micro Focus is probably your safest bet until otherwise informed.
Okay, great stuff. Another interesting question here. Do you plan more integration between ADM and Itom, like change management and configuration management, or service level management, fully integrated in the ADM stack of tools?
So the answer to the question is yes, and we talked about containers and getting to suites and all that sort of stuff. And one of the benefits to all of our partners, if you will, whether they be internal or external, and so there are already a huge amount of integrations between the ADM and Itom product sets as it is today, is that we'll be able to do more on a more consistent basis faster. So I would look for innovation in that area, and we'll, as we go through the next couple of years, I think we'll see containers and microservices and our ability to give a very tight solution set out to our customers become even more prevalent.
Okay.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, definitely. I mean, I think if you look, for example, one of the big trends that we're dealing with on the application delivery management side is enterprise agile, and how do customers scale their agile practices from the individual project up to the program level. And key and integral to that is being able to look at the various different value chains that incorporate all elements from project and portfolio management through to the core SDLC, through to the service desk and end-to-end service level management around performance management, and then also change management with the service desk as well. So I think that's going to be a key thought process for us of how do we enable that end-to-end IT value chains through integrations within our own portfolio, and I think very important as well is integrations with third-party systems, whether they be open source or other commercial tools as well. Obviously, we want to be better together, especially between ADM and Itom and our security portfolio, for example, but we also have to recognise the ecosystem that our customers have, which means that they may want us to provide integrations into third-party systems, or at least provide open architectures in our tools which are based on modernised APIs that will allow them to create the integrations themselves.
Okay, great stuff. All right, another question here, which I think relates and echoes more with our Vivit group than anything else. Hoping the combined company would have user groups to provide input to the product lines, including suggestions for future direction. Any comment on this?
Cool. Can I start on this one, Tony? Because this is an area I'm very passionate about. So, 100%. I think now more than ever, we need to be closer and tighter with our user community now more than ever. I think understanding how people are using our tools, what are the challenges they're dealing with, what are the problems, it's definitely our goal moving forward to make sure that we get even tighter community involvement, user group involvement, and making sure that we're getting that input constantly back into our R&D teams, our product management teams, even our product marketing teams, about how we message, what we message, and we're developing as well key things around, for example, helping our customers with best practices in DevOps. How do you do continuous testing in the world of DevOps? How do you do continuous monitoring in the world of DevOps? So for me, I think it's going to be even more important over the period of the next year and as we go into the spin merge to maintain that relationship back with our end users and our community. So I think we'd definitely like to hear more. We're going to look at how do we put more automated vehicles out there, and this is actually an area that Micro Focus, you know, have done some areas of research and looked into ways that we can actually get that feedback more actively into our R&D teams, whether that be, you know, us, for example, engaging in communities like Vivit, or in online communities, or even hosting our customers and our users at our various R&D sites. We've done that throughout this past year. It's worked very well, and we openly welcome any customer who would like to come and visit us and see how we as ADM have transformed, for example, to DevOps, and how some of those changes are being implemented in the solutions that we provide.
Great, thank you for that. And then also linked to that first question, how do you get customers talking about solutions when they are so focused on a specific product? Vivit members have grown their careers on a specific product or two.
Well, I think it's about with all these things, it's really about meeting the needs of the business that you have in front of you. And so, you know, we all grow up in one particular area, and we're passionate about it. And, but you know, none of the things that we've been working on and are known for and are proud of are going away. So all of those things, the thing that you cut your teeth on and is a thing that you're known for, will still be there. But for people's careers, what we're going to give you the opportunity to do is to extend and expand your knowledge and your ability, because there'll be greater capabilities available to you, and that, you know, that has to be a good thing, because we don't see the, you know, a narrow niche thing happening. There are a few areas where it still remains. Network in particular is still a dark art to many people. But in lots of other areas, we see a coming together of things, whether it be things like DevOps, whether it be security and ops, whether it be, you know, the automation stacks that are managing not just, you know, storage, but you know, network servers, you know, and there's many other examples of that. And so we think there's an opportunity for careers to grow and blossom with a lot of the work that we're doing, because one, it's very cool, and we like that, and two, because it adds real value to your customers. Jennifer, you're a good one explaining this sort of stuff. That was my shot. What's your thought on it?
Yeah, no, again, it always comes down to business problem, business value, and that's what we really need to focus on. And you know, I think a lot of Vivit members have grown their careers on a specific product or two, but it's looking at that in the bigger context of some of the changes that your very own organisations are going through. And I think if we can help you to have that conversation internally and show the value and the problems that our products solve in the context of moving to this more solution-orientated world, then I think that's a key thing. And that's why, again, having user groups, etc., are really important, because we need to create that tight-knit relationship.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm happy with those answers that I heard from you. So there was no BS at all involving there, and that's great. I have one more question here that actually kind of covers with everything that we spoke about now, and it's actually from one of my colleagues. As a large customer of HPE ADM products, what does this change from a support, product continuance, and product innovation roadmap? And I think you kind of gave an answer to all of those points. I mean, I don't see the need to answer that question because you really did answer all these points. Care to comment? Care to make one last closing comment, Tony and Jennifer?
Sure, I can start, and I'll let Tony round us out. But we're committed. We're committed to our roadmaps. We're committed to innovation. We're committed to our customers. Now more than ever, we have to stay close to our customers. We have to make sure we listen to the issues you're trying to solve, and we need to protect the investment that you have made in us, and in turn, we will make that investment in you. So from an innovation, we said, it's a steam train that's gathering speed, and we'll continue to go down that path, and we want to continue to dominate in the market just as we have done over the past several years, and make sure that we retain and expand our presence as much as possible. So, there's lots of competitors out there. When you're at the top, people want to take you down. We want to maintain that position, and we want to continue to work with our customers to do that.
Yeah, not much to add. It's I'm not sure it's a steam train. It feels like more like one of those Japanese bullet trains.
Bullet train, fair enough.
Yeah, that we're on. It's while of course these sorts of things can be unsettling, and change is always hard. We're very excited by the opportunity. We love being part of Hewlett Packard, and we'll still be part of the family. But the opportunity to go and do something at this scale doesn't come along very often. So we're excited for our customers. We like the innovation that's going to come around. We like the ability to be able to serve our customers in a much more focused way. I love Jennifer's answer about customer intimacy and about listening. I completely agree 100%. We're going to be closer to our customers. There'll be more customer outreach because it'll be easier for us to do. And so, no, we're very excited. We will keep communicating as we learn more about the spin merge. We will of course communicate, and we are there for you. We think this is great for our customers, and we think it's great for our employees too. So that's a great win-win situation.
Great stuff. Well, thank you so much, Tony and Jennifer. I'm sure we're doing good on time, and I know you have a hard stop as well. Again, thank you so much for all your good insights into this merger. And what's next? What are we doing now next, Terry? Oh, show my screen.
Yes, Tony, how you should choose the clean screen version from the drop-down.
Yep. Done now.
And what we're going to do now, just for everyone that is able to stay on the line, Tony and Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. I really think our Vivit members appreciated some of the personal insight that you shared. And we are now going to go into some more details, exactly what you said, Jennifer, what we're going to hope to collaborate more and more with you on. We're here as Vivit to help our members do their jobs better using the HPE software tool and communicate that back to HPE for innovation further. So I know that Mihai has some things he wants to share with the Chicago chapter and all those guests that we also invited. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, so Terry, just refresh my memory, please, because I have a bit of a lack of memory. I'm I'm talking out of my my office canteen, and outside there's a thunderstorm, so it's a very odd situation for me at the moment. Just remind me again, are we going to be talking about Vivit itself and what's happening in Discover, or are we going to go jump straight into the demo?
Well, so yes, given that everyone that is on the call is part of the Vivit membership already, we can share with them the demos that you wanted to share, and then maybe we can wrap up with some further instructions on Discover and how they can get more involved with Vivit on the local chapter basis. That would be great.
Great stuff. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so dear Vivit members, I will be now I'll be now in the driver's seat to show you a few things. What I would like to take you today through is the new features of Mobile Center 2.01 and how it all fits together with App Pulse Mobile. Again, just like the previous time, please feel free to write your questions away in the question box, and I will take them as we go along or at the end. Okay. I will present to you today very quickly, of course, we're not going to deep dive. I want to present to you very quickly how Mobile Center looks and feels like with the newly released 2.01 version. So this is typically how I would show the demo flow. We will start with Mobile Center. So in Mobile Center, we will show you how to load apps, do a device selection and reservation, look at the additional features, which is super important now, especially with the monitoring in App Pulse, and then talk to you about how to do the devices connection. Then we'll look into App Pulse itself, into App Pulse Mobile, to see how the applications are monitored, how the devices are monitored, how the Fundex score looks like, and everything else. Now, from an automation perspective, we typically use Sprinter, UFT, and LeanFT. We're not going to show you UFT and LeanFT because that's really the deep dive. I'm just going to focus a bit on Sprinter, Mobile Center, and App Pulse today. And then from a performance testing perspective, we're looking at either Load Runner or Performance Center, or even Stop Runner Load, that are connecting to Mobile Center to test your devices and to test your mobile applications. And in the back end, we've got network virtualization that would be used to virtualize your locations, which are then used in the controllers from the Performance Center side to actually simulate those locations. And of course, everything goes and connects to ALM and to Octane in the future, where we maintain our test cases, we maintain our and all of our manual, automated, or performance scripts. We also have an integration between Mobile Center and ALM at the moment, which is what I'm going to show you. And obviously, more importantly, all the defect management happens in ALM. And in the future, I think this is really, really important. Octane is going to be managing the backlog of your mobile app pipeline. So once you have these ADM tools stood up and talking to each other, your mobile development, mobile application development and testing area will be covered thoroughly. Okay, so I'm going to start up with Mobile Center. What's new in Mobile Center 2.01? I think there's a link in here. If you just go and Google what's new in Mobile Center, you'll find out what's available in there, and you've got all these features: burst from enterprise laptop cloud devices, Chrome and Safari browsers, support for non-packaged apps, LM extension, latency display, remote device display from lab management, crowd testing, SDK compliance, NV, Amazon Marketplace, Spring 2012-54 interactive testing, and performance testing. Okay, so this stuff is available on the internet. You can just go and Google. I'm going to show you now, first of all, how Mobile Center integrates to what's new in Mobile Center, and then what integrates with Mobile Center. To resume showing, so okay, fine. Okay, so I want to show you first Mobile Center. Terry, can you still see my screen?
Yes, but it's a blue screen. Did you switch monitors?
Not really. I just clicked on.
Okay, put your mouse on the active view that you want the audience to see, and then we should be able to see the demo. You're going to a demo, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to show you my full screen now, because
okay.
I cleaned up everything, so it should be able to see everything. Just tell me when you see it again, please.
I see it. You're going to log into Mobile Center.
Okay, great stuff. So I'm going to log into Mobile Center right now. Okay. And here's what's new in Mobile Center. So besides the fact that you can add your apps normally in here by clicking on the plus button, you add your IPK, IPA, APK, and whatever else other files. You would have now the possibility of looking at devices and then selecting which devices you would want to filter down on, of course. And more importantly, you'll be able to now reserve devices. So this is my actual phone that's hooked up into my laptop right now. I can actually take this phone and go and select when to create the reservation, which is great because it means that with a finite number of devices, I can actually reserve the mobile device for a specific period of time in which I will run the testing. And if Terry now is a colleague of mine and she wants to use the mobile device, when she logs in Mobile Center as a regular user, not as a power user or as an admin, Terry will not be able to use this device until it has been released from its previous reservation. So it's as easy as that to make reservations for your phones. You can say I created a reservation earlier for 2 days, and normally your regular end users will not be able to go and do the reservation, and when they access the devices screen in Mobile Center, they will not be able to actually execute anything on those locked devices. So that's a very one of the good features that has come up with Mobile Center 2.01. On the app side of the world, I think the most amazing part of it is that when you go into any application, you have this Lego little looking like button over here that actually gives you the additional features for that particular mobile app. And those particular features are the security scans. At the moment, it's only linked to FOD, to Fortify on demand. I believe that soon you'll have the applicability of having to integrate it with Fortify, and I'm hoping and I'm urging Vitaly and all the R&D team from the ADM space handling Mobile Center to actually do that. Then Tony was speaking earlier about Idle and Vertica and a few other tools that are playing in that data-centric space where analytics plays such an important integral role in the new IT world and in the way that we perceive agility. So here's Idle, right? Moving all these pieces and all these data coming from the app user, from the app stores and the user feedbacks and everything else, just combining all that information into a sentiment score of X that's being brought into your application into Mobile Center. So this is all powered by Idle in the backend. Okay. And then we have the SDKs, SafeDK integrations, and the crowd testing with Uber testers. I'm hoping that HPE is also going to be opening this up to applause in the future. And then more importantly, I think this is the cherry on the cake. This is where the information from Apple's mobile comes into play into Mobile Center. So now we've always been looking at the development of mobile apps from one single angle. What do we develop as features? How is our application behaving in the market, in the real world, in production? We don't know. So Apple's mobile is actually going to answer those questions because Apple's mobile actively monitors your mobile app in production and brings back the information about its usage back into Mobile Center, so that you can feed this off to your developers and then to your testers as to what needs to be tested and what needs to be developed, of course. So you can see here the amount of devices that this application has been run on, the operating system, the response times for your application, the crash rate, the user popularity. All of this can be exported to a list. And on the side here, you have the Fundex, you have the stability score with the crashes and the performance and the resource consumption. Now, of course, all of this information is good and great. If you want to view more details, you're going to click on this link. You're going to go to Apple's mobile. I'm just going to show you very quickly how that looks like. Okay, hopefully I remember the password. Yay, I do remember the password. So let's look at this. As you know, Apple's suite has now four different components into them. It's Apple's Active, Apple's Mobile, and Web and Trace. Right. So these are the four main components of the Apple suite. I'm only going to be showing you the mobile piece. So if we go to the application that should have been linked to our Mobile Center app in here, but it's not. You can actually see in its entirety, and this is Apple's mobile at its best, you have the Fundex score that shows you the trend for the specific period of time that you select. So even if I put last 3 months, it's going to churn up a bit of information in here. As you can see, it's pretty good, and I can actually show you the trend and how you've done over time. If you look at the bottom here, you've got the UI performance and where you've lost your points in terms of slow UI or slow launch, for instance. You can click on this, and it's going to show you the whole blown thing. Also on stability, where you've had crashes, and resource consumption as well for performance, just to measure how your application and your devices have been performing. At the bottom here, which is something that I like dearly, you have the app versions. And it shows you what is the app version, what is the Fundex score, what is the total daily average users, and which one is the most stable or the most with the highest score, which is great because you can actually see historically how you've done with your mobile application. And of course, if you go to all the other modules on this side in Apple's mobile, it shows you and it breaks down and gives you all the details for pretty much everything. It also shows you the transactions that happen for your specific features in your mobile application. Of course, this one doesn't have any information into it. And one thing that I really love is the stability tab over here, the module, in which you can actually look at let's see, check deposit, where you can actually look at crashes. So these crashes contain the crash logs of your actual code, then the crash trail. Okay, there's no crash there for these. Okay, let's take something else. Let's take this check deposit. All right, which actually shows you how your application has crashed and where and why. So this is brilliant for visualization of your user actions, so that you can actually see what you have done to get to that crash point. And then, more importantly, submitting a defect. At the moment, it's just submitting to Jira, and obviously, ALM is I believe is on the backlog to be part of the defect tracking systems that Apple's Mobile is going to be posting defects to. And you can actually see that when you log on or create a new defect, it actually brings all the information that you need all into one place. So that's pretty much how AppPulse fits into Mobile Center. Okay, and what I'm going to show you now are two more things, which is the ALM piece and then the Sprinter piece. So let's look at ALM. And by the way, Rocky, all of this is happening in my lab in Tampa, just so you know. Right, so this is ALM. You will have, with LM 12.21, you will have patch 3, and with 12.53, you will have patch, gosh, I can't remember which number it is, but the latest patches on ALM will allow you to connect Mobile Center to your ALM instance. And the connectivity between Mobile Center and ALM really fits into one single place at this point in time. I've been told that the integration will expand into the rest of the modules within ALM, but at the moment it only extends to the test lab. So for those of you who have seen ALM, this is not going to be a weird screen. For those of you who haven't, well, sorry, tough luck. So in here in the test lab, you have now a little button over here, which is called Select Device and Application in Mobile Center. And if you click on that little button, it's going to open up the wizard. And it's actually going to show you the Mobile Center GUI. It's going to ask you which specific device you need to work on, so you can set up filters and just select what range of devices you need to run those tests on. And okay, and then after you've selected those, it's going to ask you which applications you're going to be running on. So I'm doing the select one. And then obviously on the third one is going to give you the test options. What is the mobile app? What is the system app? If you want to go start with a system app from the mobile device, installed apps, device metrics, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And once I've hit save and close, it's actually going to save those parameters in your test set with your test case. So in essence, and I haven't found out the real use for this integration except for the reporting. So when I want to report on my test set, how much of test cases have been executed against my mobile devices and which mobile devices have I executed test cases against, this will be the place to go get that information from. So that in a nutshell is how ALM works. Actually, there's a bunch of questions probably here. I don't believe this. Okay. Okay. Do we have any questions so far? And Terry, please help me out here because I'm struggling to see all the questions that we already answered. So are there any new questions? Yep, and
I'm just reviewing them. So first of all, I just want to invite everyone to type in any questions for Mihai on the demonstration that he just provided. Just go and expand the questions section on your control panel, and you can type them in. We're also a small group. If you'd like to raise your hand, I could also go in and unmute you. But also yeah, go ahead.
I'm not done with the demo. I have like 5 minutes left. I just didn't know if there were any questions that I needed to answer in between. So
not specifically around this as yet.
Perfect. Okay, so that's a great bunch of people then. Okay, so I'm going to show you Sprinter for another 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we can wrap up. So in here, I'm going to show you how Sprinter integrates now to Mobile Center and with ALM. So I'm going to do. Let's connect with ALM. Okay. Just bear with me for a second. Hey Terry, I think I should add this to my list of achievements. Running a demo for Vivit out of my office canteen. Sounds good on my resume.
You are definitely multi-talented. I appreciate you doing this.
No, it's just I couldn't get a room in my office, if you can believe that. Anyway. Okay, so this is my Sprinter. If you look at the settings and on the mobile, you can see that everything else is set up already in there. And if I want to create a new test case, so let's just take an example. For instance, that Terry, I'm going to use your name. So Terry is now a manual functional tester that needs to test, who needs to test a few features on the new mobile application. And Terry doesn't have any documentation, and Terry needs to do a bit of exploratory testing. So Sprinter is designed precisely for that. So we're going to create a new test. Okay. And as you can see, I have no steps captured in here, no description, no expected results, no nothing. I'm going to go to my steps capture and select my application. When I do this, let's remove everything. All these apps, I'm not interested in them. I'm going to add. When I hit add, I'm going to have the option to choose between a web app, a desktop app, and a mobile app. So obviously, I'm going to select mobile application because this is the purpose of our demonstration now. So mobile app, Bank. I'm going to click on the box here, on the radio button that says Mobile Center Application. I'm going to click on Select. And by the way, yes, Mobile Center is supportive of SAP mobile platform and Fiori. So yes, you can run tests against an SAP environment. I just don't have an iPhone now to show you. I have an application in SAP now that's over here. Just don't have that. Don't have an iPhone. So I'm going to select my Bank application. I'm going to select the application that I need to test. And that's pretty much it. I say OK. I'm going to close. And we're ready to go. So Terry now is going to click on the recording button. And Terry now, who's an expert at testing, is going to select the device. If that device had been reserved for, I don't know, someone else, like me, for instance, Terry wouldn't have not been able to access that device. So luckily for me, I've established that reservation, so I'm good to go. So now what's going to happen is the Sprinter is going to be, and the beautiful part about this while this thing is loading up, is that, as you know, or not necessarily, our clients and our organizations have absolutely zero clue about Sprinter, and I think it's one of the most undermined and underestimated and super powerful tools that exist now in the market that come out of the box for free with Mobile Center or for free with ALM. So my advice to you is just look at Sprinter more and more, and just make your clients have a look at it as well, because it's really going to be saving them a lot of time. So in Sprinter, you have this little option here for simulating events. I didn't find it quite useful, but when you run your test and when you execute your test, it should be you should be able to simulate these events. You have the latency, which was a new feature from Mobile Center. That latency is only going to be showing you the latency between your tethered device to Mobile Center. And then you have this option to get your screen in landscape or portrait mode, so you can see whatever I'm clicking here is going to be captured in the steps in Sprinter's recording here. So let's do another step. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually capture all my information on the screen. So what you see now on my screen is actually my phone, which is connected and sitting on my chair next to me. So I'm going to capture all this stuff. Okay, company, login. Oh, of course. Okay, let's delete this stuff. Let's delete these guys over here. Oh, okay. Company. Login. Oh man, today I'm not good with my keyboard. Let's do this again. Okay. Yay, that's great. So now I went in. I'm going to click make a payment. I'm going to add a phone in here. Okay, I'm going to type in whatever I want to type in here. Okay, and I'm going to put in the amounts. We see that Rock is very generous today. I'm going to select the country. Let's make it Italy. Let's go have some good vino. And I'm going to click select payment. Yes, that's it. Now, once I'm done with my test case in Sprinter, as you can see, it actually captured all my end user actions. I can obviously remove all the stuff that's really not necessary. So I can definitely make some nice cleanups here. Okay, there we go. And there you go. So whatever I've created in here can actually be reused by someone else. So I can save this test step straight into, I can save all these test cases straight into ALM. And then once I run the test case from ALM, it's going to look like this. Okay, so okay, so as I run my test in power mode, and this is the beauty of it, I'll run this on my device. Okay, it's going to be a bit to come up. Okay, the mobile device is coming up. Okay, all these control bars here come from Sprinter, and I've actually selected the test case that doesn't have any design steps into it. So I'm going to capture everything in here, hopefully right this time. Okay, I'm gonna make a payment. Okay, I'm gonna put the names in. And the difference between capturing and running a test in using Sprinter is that the design, when you design, you actually save the script either as a standalone script as Sprinter or as an LM script. But when you execute it within Sprinter, the user actions can be exported to an UFT script, which is what I want to show you now. France. Payment. Yes. I can also capture screenshots, by the way, to show that everything is working fine. I can add annotations. I can even, the Sprinter has the option to measure in pixels the amount, whatever fields you want to, so you can actually play around with those things. Okay, there's no step, so I can't really save this. And then I'm going to say stop. So now the beauty part of it, all of this is captured now in ALM. But what I want to show you is this. On the user actions tab, you have everything that I've done on the mobile device. And the beauty of it is you can actually export this to a UFT file and then go in UFT and have a test engineer do a bit of tweaking and actually being able to run the test without having to go and ask people, how did you get here? How did you do this? And obviously waste time from both an SME or from a support perspective. So that to me is really invaluable. And obviously, you can email all of this stuff and print and export and do a whole bunch of other stuff. That's typically out of the box. Whew. Okay, so I'm done. Oh, and actually, I'm not done. And let's go into my mobile center application right now. Okay, and let's look at AirBank. And what I want to show you, let's see, I didn't set it up as in AppPulse. What I wanted to show you was that in when you hook it up properly with AppPulse Mobile, it actually brings up all that information almost immediately. So whatever I've done here now on my phone would have been brought up in here to say Motorola, always, I don't know what it was, response time X, and whatever. So this is how nice and tight AppPulse Mobile is integrated to Mobile Center. And then in the middle, we got Sprinter and UFT and LinFT for automation, and then Load Runner, Performance Center, Stone Runner with network virtualization, doing all these wonderful things, and eventually all ending up into Mobile Center and AppPulse. Now that is the conclusion of my screen. Sorry, the conclusion of my presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Whew. Okay, so now any questions here?
Okay, so Mihai, if you've stopped, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my slides.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you can see them. I'm going to have to get...
Can see them?
Yeah. I will put them in slideshow mode. Hold on. Okay. So for the benefit of everyone that's on the call, if you do have any questions for Mihai directly, you can go ahead and type them in to the questions pane, or as I mentioned, you can choose to raise your hand and I can unmute you. But this is just an example. What I would love to know from the audience, and I don't know, I did not create a poll around this, but I'd love to understand how many are here from the Chicago chapter, which I can look at the registration. But mainly I'd also like to understand how many of you have ever attended a Vivit local chapter event. Because this is where there is a lot of good exchange of information. And Mihai, as the chapter leader of Chicago, you can really get into a lot of sharing best practices and sharing knowledge amongst peers in your industry or that are using the same software tools as you. So if you haven't, look for different local events in the Chicagoland area. I know we also invited others from the Midwest region here. So. And if you don't know who your chapter leader is, just feel free to reach out to me. I am the Americas chapter and SIG liaison. Okay, so it's a quiet group. Hold on, just saw something pop through. And as I mentioned to one of the attendees having the question, this is a session that was recorded. All the slides as well as the recording will be available on the Vivit website, and in the next day or so you'll receive an email with the follow-up link and where you can find all of that information housed. Anything about the Chicago chapter you want to communicate, Mihai?
Well, no, but I mean, you've done a great job. I really encourage all the members of Chicago to come and meet us face to face. We'll run another session probably after Discover, sometime around January, to bring the Discover from London to the Chicago chapter, and there will also be another webinar. And then we'll do, when the spring comes, we'll probably do a face-to-face meetup, and I would strongly encourage everybody to come and join us. I'll probably sponsor it also from an Accenture perspective, so we'll have, we'll have the space, we'll have the eats, we'll have everything that we need to, and more importantly, I would like for everybody to just come and join and enjoy themselves and network with the rest of the people. And I think we need to just really make it a priority for everybody to spread the word, because we need to revitalize this chapter in Chicago. It's been dormant for a while, and we just need to get up and about with the new with the new merger and everything happening. So everybody, please just join us whenever you can. We really like to make this as much as interactive as possible.
Okay, so, and there's been a lot of thank yous and kudos coming through to the demonstration, Mihai, as well. So thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Should we just wrap up with an opportunity? If any of you do have a chance to attend Discover, the dates are November 29th through December 1st in London. Vivit will have a booth and a presence there, so we really look forward to you stopping by and sharing your stories with us and meeting some of the staff and fellow leaders, etc. And there will be some, lots of conversation and roundtables going on. So definitely do hope that you can put it on your agenda to attend. Mihai, I think you'll be there as well, correct?
Where? At Discover in London?
Discover? Yes.
Actually, no. I'm going back to South Africa. I'm going back home for a bit, so I will not be seeing you.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, because we love to get face-to-face with our leaders as well. But please, if you do attend, stop by the Vivit booth. And HPE always offers some great insights as to if you need reasons to ask your management a justification to attend. Basically, it's really having a lot of thought leaders in the industry all in one spot. So it's a great opportunity to learn about tomorrow's technologies, but there is a top 10 reasons on their website. And lastly, just to communicate with us, there's also a quick survey afterwards, and you'll get the follow-up email. So if you have any inputs or thoughts or topics you'd like to see at future chapter events and such, please definitely do share that with us today. So we thank you for your time. We hope it was informative. And Mihai, any closing thoughts on your end?
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. So for all of you Chicagoites, let's hope that tonight is history in the making. So Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.